Too much planning could be the death of this operation.
And then he
hired a
excuses
cipher.
He excuses himself. He says he's going to go draft an official letter to Factal Reese stating your position. Mahogany, you're about to become the most hated man in the Harmonium by far.
Yeah. And you know who's that's gonna drive up a mile? Riot. That's gonna get up her nose so far.
So, Nath. You wanted to come back and destroy this golem with magical arrows.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I told them that's what they... At that point, didn't realize we were going to be run out of the bazaar. But yeah.
Okay. Do you return to the bazaar to see that through after your short rest?
Did I get any reply on my sending?
Who did you send to?
Someone named Lieutenant in Dwath's organization.
Big Tim, I think his name was.
Big
Yeah,
Tim.
Big Tim.
Oh, yeah. That's right. Yeah, and he explains, like I think I said last week, literally the last thing Serenity did was gift Dwarves people with like 12 quivers of +1 arrows or something ridiculous.
Yeah. Didn't you give them the mechanics to the formulas to construct more of those things? Wasn't that with it?
Yeah.
I think
or
so.
No, I think Riot took that too.
Riot has been trading those kind of schematics to the Doomguard, as I recall.
Yeah.
Liberation, I need you to make a perception check. Because I'm assuming you're trying to keep up this facade that you are actually Mr. Joss and you know what's going on or anything.
16.
16.
Okay.
Two bits of information that you glean as the next few minutes of whirlwind conversation. Are you going back with Saren or are you going with Mahogany?
I'm going to stick with Mahogany since I was assigned to him.
Okay. Then you only catch one little tidbit of information.
Mm-hmm.
That there's currently a very hurried investigation to find out how Bria Tomei managed to get her hands on that golem.
Bria Tomei. That name's been dropped before. Yeah, that name has been dropped before.
She's the quote-unquote Factal of the...
Right. Okay, so... Curiouser and curiouser.
So, question to Mahogany, so I don't have to roleplay out the whole situation here. How seriously are you taking this?
Oh, extremely.
Extremely.
Mahogany has a very high insight score and is one of the only members of the party who actually wants the hardheads to do their jobs again.
So you are going to...
The only thing is I did extract permission from the Factal himself that I'm allowed to recruit anyone I want. So the next thing I'm doing after this, I'll let you know so you're not shocked by it, is I'm going to go tell... Hollis Dwath that I have new orders for him from the Factal.
So suffice it to say, you're going to be spending at least the rest of today.
Yeah.
And are you staying with him the whole time, Liberation?
Yeah, I'm going to stay with him the whole time.
Okay. At any point, do you make any attempt to get word out to your other peoples?
Animal messenger?
Yeah, I mean, I can do that myself.
Okay. So Riot and Nath, an hour or so after that, after your short rest concludes, you receive word via a rat messenger.
That with a weird, deep mahogany voice. I want to be very clear here about the wording of this spell.
Yeah.
that the Hardheads made me their boss. I'm going to be in charge of the marketplace. See you guys in a bit.
Right understanding of this message is that once again, Mahogany has completely failed to understand what somebody has told him.
So over the course of the evening, Riot and Nath, are you returning to the bazaar at all, or staying clear of it?
After I get the animal messenger, I'm immediately going to cast Ascending to Mahogany.
Okay.
In your shop, Golem was contained. When are you moving against it? Hollis Dwarf has orders to bring magical arrows to bear on the monstrosity. Exactly 25.
Because you know if you said 26 words, I'd have been so mad.
That's the difference between Destil and me.
Okay.
Give me a minute. We'll find trustworthy hardheads to shoot at the thing with you. See you in an hour.
So was Mahogany calling us all back to his shop?
No.
No.
Well, you got my message.
Yeah.
So
So take from that exactly what you think you were getting.
Okay.
And yeah, I'm gonna go around and because I must have picked out some people by this point who I think can be trusted to have a bow in their hands and not shoot at an in-depth. And I'm gonna say go draw yourself some arrows from the stockpile. We're gonna go take down a golem.
So when you tell them that they're going to go take down the golem, you're informed that is after they took control of the area, their next course of action immediately was to... How is the golem contained? A wall of force, right?
Yeah, it had 10 minutes when I dimension doored away.
Well, then they're... Oh, it only lasts 10 minutes?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, in that 10 minutes, they attempted to dispel it, but it obviously doesn't work because it was a wall of force.
Yep.
But that being a harmonium construct,
Yeah.
it was relatively easy to get control of the thing, and it has been... They had an expert on scene with an old schematic, old dusty tome they had to pull out of a corner of office from the barracks to go down and safely dismantle the thing so that it couldn't do any harm. It has a sort of power source, which is charged with the actual literal sun of Arcadia. And that source is being taken back to Arcadia for safekeeping. The various bits and bobs that make up the creature itself are now inert. It can't harm anybody.
Can the power source be destroyed?
There's no reason to do that.
That's not the question I asked, and I'm this guy's boss.
Who are you talking to having this conversation with?
I was having the conversation with a few of the people that I had rounded up to be the head of patrolling.
When you say powered by the actual sun, do you mean someone gets a fly spell and a protection of energy and flies up there and starts shoveling?
The way the sun works in Arcadia...
It's just a joke.
There's no dawn or dusk in Arcadia. Dawn and dusk are like in between, and there's no room for in between anything in Arcadia. So it goes from high noon to midnight instantly. So this particular... To create one of these power sources, you have to create it in the daylight of Arcadia and literally travel fast enough so it's never in darkness. For your edification.
Okay.
So asking if it can be destroyed, I mean, they don't really see how that's pertinent. And there's no reason to destroy it anyway.
Because my reasoning is, what we're going to do, as the first step to proving that this is not what the hardheads wanted, and it wasn't their goal to begin with, at least not at the time, is we're going to round up some in-depths, and we're going to shoot the hell out of this power source until it's destroyed.
Power source is already off Sigil. It's already been taken to Arcadia. They were in there when that wall of force came down, dismantling this thing. And one of them questions the wisdom a little sarcastically. He's giving you a little stank. He questions the wisdom of the First Order being, let's round up some in-depths. Isn't that exactly the opposite of what the Factal asked you to do?
And Mahogany will laugh and then slap him on the back. And he'll say, "Oh, don't worry, they love destroying Hardhead toys."
Where's Riot this evening?
Riot. So Riot knows, she met with Liberation and she knows like about Joss Wegman, right?
Yeah, I mean that was
Joss
was
Woodman was over the raries.
Yeah. That's common knowledge amongst the group.
Riot is going to cast Ascending to Joss Wegman.
Okay.
Like, to the actual man.
Okay.
Have you ever met Joss Wegman?
That's a good question. Do I have to have?
I think you do.
Ascending. To a creature with which you are familiar.
You're familiar with him.
Yeah. That's...
Yeah, I know what he looks like and everything.
Yeah.
Yeah, asking, where are you? I know you're trapped. I need to come find you.
And the only response you get from Wegman is identify yourself.
People love making Riot waste your sendings.
That was my last 3rd level spell slot. I can't do anything until tomorrow.
So where are you this evening?
I'm at the Sensorium.
Not the answer I was expecting. Why are you there?
I am scouting the place out.
Okay. For what in particular? What do we keep an eye out for?
What I'm going to do with this stone I've got is tonight I'm going to put in some of the more embarrassing memories to the hardhead.
Mm-hmm.
And what I'm looking for is this place in the public sensorium where once I get my spell slots back, I can come back here tomorrow and leave it for everyone to use.
Okay. Make an intelligence investigation check. Make it at advantage.
Okay. Not a great couple of results. Got an 11 here.
An 11?
Yeah.
Okay.
Investigation is one of my worst skills with only a +2.
So the goal is basically to swap your sensory stone with another one, like in a high traffic area, so a lot of people will see it.
Yeah, ideally there would be a blank space, but I didn't think that was likely to be the case. So yeah.
Okay. Swapping it out would be relatively easy. I mean, you can, with a little bit of jink, you can get access to the stone for some amount of time. Then it's just a simple matter of swapping the two out.
Yeah. Okay.
So you pick a high traffic area. You've replaced one of, I don't know, hot, fresh baked bread.
Mm-hmm. Do they have like placards?
Not as such because they're cycled quite a lot.
Okay.
More likely you would just like flag down a sensate tout and they will explain what each one is on a given day.
Okay. Yeah, I figure. Yeah, I can do this tomorrow once I got my greater invisibility back.
And Nath, by the time you arrive back at the bazaar that evening,
disguised,
and there is some confusion as you start to wade back in to these in-depths, some of which you recognize as Dwath's men. And the word is that the monster that they all came back here to kill has already been taken apart. It's just a pile of rubble in the middle of the bazaar now.
Do I see Big Tim?
Yeah, he's there.
I'll just kind of tap him on the shoulder, whisper, "It's me, Nath," in his ear, and pull him aside to a little alleyway or something.
Okay.
And I'll just say, make sure that the rumor spreads that one of Dwath's men was the one that contained that monstrosity. No one else will claim credit for it.
And he nods. He says, "It's not what I would have expected, though. I mean, I saw the thing with my own eyes. The hardheads let the thing loose and then broke the thing down. It doesn't make any sense."
It's forbidden magic. Don't know how they got it onto Sigil, and I don't know why it was released here. So was the Dispel. I don't know a lot about Sigil, but I know you're not allowed to take those off the homeworld, either of them, except to Arcadia.
The general tone of the bazaar at the moment is that the hardheads kind of have it on lockdown. Most of the major thoroughfares in and out are being very heavily guarded and patrolled. A lot of lower members of the faction, men and women who aren't military grade, are busy doing general construction and cleanup stuff inside the bazaar. People who have homes and businesses inside the bazaar are not being barred entry, but for all intents and purposes, the place is closed otherwise tonight. You are hearing some kind of rumors of some kind of new hardhead liaison that nobody's ever heard of before is going to come and clamp the place down, and there are already 8 or 9 different smatterings about how they're going to assassinate that person. Make a deception check. Charisma. You know what? Make this intelligence deception.
Okay. I think it's going to be a 6.
A 6?
You rolled a 1.
Yep, that'll be a 6.
Okay. Let's hope Big Tim rolls better than you do. Is Nath staying there throughout the evening, or does he have?
No, I was going to head back to Mahogany shop, hunker down there with a couple of alarms, since it's already guarded, and since it's already private sanctums.
Is that permanent?
No, it's 8 hours, but I got one spell slot left to put it back up when it drops.
Mahogany's not going to be able to get back into his own shop. He's had to sleep in a garbage can across the street. Riot. That night, when you return after your scouting mission, going back to presumably the church.
Yeah, where I live.
One of the acolytes, one of Yashnarg's priests in training, tells you that a visitor came by. A very well-dressed and well-spoken Githzerai, asking about you, and he left you a gift.
Oh, great. I love gifts. Where is it, up in my office?
He fetches it for you, and he's asked if you want him to bring it up there.
Yeah.
What he hands you is a heart-shaped pink box with a red ribbon tied on it, and in golden ink is a large initial K.
Okay. Yeah, I'll bring it up to my office / bedroom. Put it on the desk and open it up.
You open it up, and it's filled with chocolates.
I gotta say, when you said there'd been a visitor from Riot at the temple, this was not what I was expecting.
I just never knew Kelian cared.
Do I remember meeting any Githzerai with names beginning in K?
Do you remember meeting any Githzerai whose names begin with K?
Your notes are better than anyone else's, Nick. Probably very.
Yeah, they're not. My good notes are offline at the moment. I will
Make a wisdom check.
Sure. That's pretty good. I think it's an 18.
You have a recollection of flirting with one Githzerai whose name started with K, but there's no possible way this could be him.
Oh.
I think
was
everybody's
waiting for it.
identified it except for Nick at this point.
It's true. I'm just like,
I think we'll leave it like that. Because I like the idea that Riot is just completely bewildered by this.
Riot has so many irons in the fire. It's like the problem is she knows too many people it could be.
The question is, does she eat the chocolate?
Yes,
And
absolutely.
it's delicious.
She's a tiefling. What are they going to do, poison her?
The next day is New Cycle's Dawn. First day of the new cycle in Sigil. And usually on this day, every faction, faith, creed, and mythology celebrates it in a new way. A new beginning means something different to everybody. But for the people of Sigil, what it generally means is the Dabus are out in force, repairing damage to structures and whatnot that were done by Doomguard on the previous day that they had off. Mahogany and Liberation. Mm-hmm. You guys spent the night at the barracks.
Yeah.
Quarters were provided for you. How long does Liberation keep up this charade?
Well, that night I'll say to Mahogany, look, we got to find this guy. We got to find this Just Wagner guy.
Why?
Because it's going to be kind of weird when I stop doing this in his name. I have other things that I have to take care of.
Then stop. Leave your stuff in his room and leave.
It's going to be kind of weird when I just go sauntering out of the barracks, out of his room.
Come with me. I'll say you're my friend Liberation, and you're here to help me community police.
Fair enough.
So you're not pretending to be Wegman anymore?
Once, yeah.
So the next question that the Hardheads do not allow you to dodge is, in what official capacity do you require Liberation's help?
Of Liberation's help?
Yes.
I say that the whole point of this thing is that the Hardheads are going to have to work with other factions. Here we have a Godsman, a man who sees the best in everyone. Don't you see how that could be valuable?
So, every time Mahogany, like a question like that is put to Mahogany, he answers it with another question.
I mean, Mahogany's a cipher.
Does he?
Reminded of that scene in Mystery Men. Or rather, that character in Mystery Men.
Mahogany, make an intelligence check at disadvantage.
Yeah.
Just notate the result. And then I will need to use it later.
Yeah. All right. I'll write that down.
How'd you do?
3. No, I'm sorry. That was stupid of me. 4.
Let's get morning action from everybody. What's Riot doing in the morning?
Riot's going to go over to the Sensorium and put her plan into motion.
What about liberation?
I am going to. I guess I'm sticking with Mahogany for a little while.
Mm-hmm. I need you.
Okay.
What is Nath doing this morning?
Nath is going to cast No Detection and Disguise Self on himself, and then he is going to spend some time in the Bazaar getting a feel for how the shakedown of the new... Just get a feel for how things are running at this point.
Okay. And Mahogany.
I'm going to go meet up with Nath.
So, you're going to go out to the Bazaar?
Yeah.
And so you're going to abandon your duties at the barracks?
No, I'm going to bring a couple of guys with me. This is the start.
So you're done making your selections among the guys?
How many guys was I able to find in a day?
That's up to you.
All right. What's a patrol of hardheads?
Typically between... I mean, it depends on where you're at in Sigil, but patrols more than 10 are very rare.
Okay, so let's call it 4 patrols of hardheads I picked out.
Okay.
They're going to get to know each other now, because some of them might not have worked together in the past.
Mm-hmm.
For now, I'll just take half a patrol with me.
And on a scale of 1 to 10, how much is Mahogany willing to compromise when it comes to selecting hardheads? Because he has it in his head that he's only going to pick the perfect people who are meant to do the job. But you're picking a lot of guys in a very short amount of time. So how much is Mahogany willing to compromise that ideal?
Let me put it this way.
Mm-hmm.
I want at least 5 guys that I know I can trust, no matter what. Then I'm willing to, for the rest of them, pick people that I can put those 5 guys in charge of.
Okay. And what is...
So let's call it like a 4. I'm willing to compromise.
Okay. So you're going to go down to the Bazaar with these people and...
Yeah.
Get a sense of things?
Yeah, well, no, I'm going to go meet Nath, and I'm going to put feelers out for a meeting with Hollis Dwarf.
At any point did you mention to Saren or anybody else in the Harmonium that you want Dwath working with you on this?
No.
No, okay. So at the Sensorium this morning...
You've met Mahogany before, right?
I think that Mahogany took his direction as, you're giving me a lot of latitude to make the decision, so I'm going to decide.
Yeah. They hired a cipher. That's on them.
Back at the Sensorium, you just make the switch.
Yeah,
and get out.
Get out.
Okay.
I had plans to like fake a placard or something with permanent illusion, but if they don't have them, then no point. And the stone contains like a greatest hits of the embarrassing moments of the recent raid.
Like a supercut.
Yeah.
The Sensorium is just YouTube made manifest.
Now, sensory stones are not like camcorders. They don't record like events. They record emotions. So what are the emotions this stone is meant to evoke? I guess a better question might be like, from whose point of view? Like, are you trying to get across the like embarrassment and injury suffered by an innocent indep, or are you trying to get across like the cruelty and maliciousness of a hardhead who's overstepped his authority?
Neither, actually. I'm trying to get across the ineffectiveness and the flailing of the hardheads. Like, present them as comic figures in this, because you've got the ones who are like drowning in a maelstrom. You've got the ones who are trapped in a wall of force.
The guys that are naked.
Anywhere. You've definitely got a lot of ones who are naked. Just like it's looking at the hardhead has action as the Keystone Cops.
Okay, so comedy then.
Yeah.
Excellent.
It has been 0 minutes.
Comedy is the lowest form of sensory stone.
What do you do after you make the switch?
I might hang around for 10 minutes or so.
Okay.
Just to see, like, if anybody comes across it.
And in the 10 minutes that you wait, nobody goes into that particular sensorium.
Okay.
It's still being pretty early in the morning. I mean, the sensoriums are always busy, but they get busier throughout the day.
Okay. Then yeah, I'll have faith in the sensorium's workings.
So liberation. Down still at the barracks.
Yeah.
Make an intelligence check.
This will be hilarious.
Do better than me.
$20.
Yeah.
Not as hilarious as I thought it was going to be.
So what kind of work are you focusing on doing here? Now that Mahogany's kind of said, hey, he's going to take care of some stuff, and I'm going to go down to the bazaar, put some eyes on the ground there.
I'm going to kind of follow Mahogany's lead and find guys who are obviously not looking to thump some heads, but guys that are legitimately that are legitimately wanting to do good in the market ward.
Nobody in the rank and file here trust you or this cipher, and have no idea why Saren has put you in a position to do this work. Talking with some of the guys, though, especially the officers, especially the people who have actual rank, these are the guys who would be put in charge of patrols, or put in charge of organizing patrols. Like, the most common feature amongst these guys is just cynicism. How much do you vocalize this desire to get things under control without thumping heads?
Absolutely. I mean that like there is no compromising for liberation. He wants to. He legitimately wants the people who are there that want to be there. He doesn't have any time for people who are just trying to.
Well, it's not a question of wanting to be there or not. It's a question of. You're going to have a lot of conversations throughout the morning with officers who have been in the line of duty and been in situations where there wasn't a non-violent solution. I mean, think of it this way. Think of it in terms of a police officer who has to take control of the scene because there's a violent criminal. How do you do that? What new ideas is the cipher going to bring to the table that haven't already been tried and known to fail?
Well, I can't speak for the ciphers because I'm not one, but
he says it's your job to speak for the ciphers. The cipher brought you in as his second. And this is the kind of resistance that you face all morning. And you have a very frustrating time of it. So getting a sense of like who you can trust, it's very difficult because some of these guys you think you would stand back to back with in a fight. Some of them you see the sense in putting them out there because they can follow orders well. Some of them you can tell just want to go out there and be bullies. But you're starting to get the sense that this is a much, much harder job than you expected it was going to be. Everybody in Sigil wants to know, how come the Harmonium just don't do their job better? And you're starting to get a sense for why they don't.
Yeah. And I mean, I was expecting that. Like, Mahogany's got really pie in the sky ideas, but it's gonna actually getting them executed is going to be a much different kettle of fish.
So here's what your 20 on your intelligence roll gets you.
Okay.
If Mahogany implements these kind of non-violent strategies, and if he insists on changing things too much, it's beginning to dawn on you that what's going to happen is a lot of dead hardheads. And probably the situation in the bazaar won't get any better.
When did Mahogany say he was looking for non-violence? I've killed so many people.
Well, I'm basing this on what you told Saren in the room.
But yeah, you're gonna see Mahogany's.
But you're not in this scene. I'm telling Liberation what he heard.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
sorry.
based on what you know, Saren and Mahogany talked about, and based on what Mahogany did yesterday, this is going to end with a lot of dead hardheads. It's going to end with a lot of people taking advantage of the situation, and the Bazaar will be back in chaos. And this time it'll be Mahogany's fault. So, moving on to the actual Bazaar, Nath, getting a sense for what happened in the Bazaar after the shakedown. The Harmonium seem to have things more or less under control, but it's a very grudging control. Nath wasn't here, obviously, after the proclamation, but if you recall how the Indepts kind of took control of everything and wouldn't let anybody come into the Bazaar without stating their business, making sure that nobody... That's kind of what the Harmonium are doing on this first day after the fact. There's no violence, but tension is very, very high. You do see with your own eyes this golem has been dismantled in the center of the Bazaar.
Okay.
And before long, you see Mahogany marching into the courtyard, or into the square, rather, with several dozen hardheads at his back. You recognize him, but he doesn't recognize you because you've got disguise and non-detection and...
I'm disguised as the same human I was yesterday, though.
Okay. Do you approach Mahogany at all, or do you just watch him?
I'll just make sure that I'll make sure he's seen me, and then I'll walk into one of the shops that doesn't have anyone in it.
Okay. Mahogany, get to work. What are you doing?
All right, so I'm going to take my 5 guys,
Okay.
and I'm going to set the rest of them to getting to know the local hardheads, because they're going to need to work with them. Try not to kill anyone until I get back.
That's your orders? Try not to kill anyone until I get back?
Yeah.
Okay. And what are you actually doing in the Bazaar? Were you and your 5 guys?
I go after Nath, because I just saw him.
Okay.
And so I come up into the building that Nath's in.
Okay.
So you see me come in with my 5 hardened. And I'm clearly looking for you.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know where you are. Like, are you hiding? Are you...
No, I was just waiting. I was assuming you would use that opportunity to ditch the hardheads, but...
Yeah, too bad. So, I come up to you, and I say, we need to talk.
Nod.
And I hold my hand out, and I say, meet the 5 hardheads you'll be working with.
I'll look them over.
And they're nondescript hardheads, like their actual name is Hardhead number 1, Hardhead number 2, etc.
And I say, I'm going to need to talk to Hollis Dwath.
Oh, how do the hardheads react to that?
Very, very suspiciously. All eyes go over to Mahogany when he says that, and they haven't heard this name spoken aloud in this context before.
Mm-hmm. But I mean, they're gonna need to meet him eventually, and these are my 5 guys that I wanted to be certain of.
Okay. Now, by what means did you become certain of them?
I want five hardheads who joined espousing the same beliefs that I've heard Dwath say.
Okay.
Because in my mind, he's the ideal hardhead.
Okay.
So I want 5 little Dwaths.
Is Mahogany trained in insight?
Yes.
Yes. You're pretty confident that you picked 5 people who share your opinion on Hollis Dwath. People who join the Harmonium for the right reasons. And now, standing in this room, all 5 of them are staring daggers at you.
Close the door.
When the door is closed, one of them speaks up. He looks back over at Nath. Says, you know the location of Hollis Dwath?
As soon as he starts talking, I tell him not to speak, and I start casting Private Sanctum.
I'm not going to say, don't worry, wizard stuff.
So 10 minutes later, Mahogany, you'll have to allow me to vet
wait,
these men.
what's the spell?
Mordecain's Private Sanctum,
Oh, right.
using all forms of...
Except for
Now,
Now,
Except for
are you casting it as a ritual?
Can you? Didn't think it was.
Oh, this is casting time, 10 minutes. Okay.
Yeah.
During that 10 minutes, the
This is the most
question
awkward 10 minutes
continues amongst these hardheads. As you begin casting a spell, they insist that you answer the question. What does Mahogany do?
I told them that I'll answer them in, and then I look over and think 10 minutes. But I promise that they're going to be the first people
One of them
that I talk to.
He says, I'm overriding the cipher. You two, go back to the barracks. Inform them what you've just heard. And two of these hardheads begin to leave the room.
Stop casting my spell, lock the room in a hemispherical wall of force.
And I say, you can't override the cipher. I've got my orders from the Factyl himself.
So you're trapping them in with a wall of force?
And us, yep.
And all 5 of these hardheads pull their swords.
I'm honestly impressed at how little time it took for Mahogany to cock this up.
Mahogany didn't cock up shit.
How many of them? Can you fit everybody in the...
It's a 20-foot radius.
Yeah, you can get everybody in
So
there.
I'm just going to fit it. Or I could... you know what? We're inside a shop. I'll just plaster the walls over with it.
Yeah, there you go. It got real comfy in this shop all of a sudden.
Yeah.
So, do either of you explain that you do know the location of Hollis Dwath?
I won't say anything until I've had a chance to vet these men.
Yeah, and,
No, I'm
and
saying
I'll
that
say,
out loud to Mahogany.
Yeah, and I'll say out loud to the men that I spoke with the Factyl himself, and he assured me that I had the authority to hire anyone of sufficient rank to patrol this marketplace.
One of the men scoffs and says, what rank does Hollis Dwath hold inside the Harmonium?
What was he, a captain? Lieutenant?
I believe Mahogany is acting on your Factyl's orders.
He says, if the Factyl had heard the name Hollis Dwath, we would not be standing here with you today.
And I'll say in response, the Factyl's going to hear the name Hollis Dwath by the end of the day, and we can see what he says then.
Nick, you're an impartial observer to this.
Mm-hmm.
What are the chances of one of these 5 Harmonium officers, or not, they're not officers, one of them's an officer, the other 4 are his underlings. Did I have that correct, Nodal?
Yeah,
Okay.
Sure, why not?
What are the chances that one of
wanted
the 5 of them is a magic user capable of using sending?
Sending's a pretty low level spell.
It's like a 3, isn't it?
Oh, yeah.
I guess the question is, and Nath hasn't had time to cast his Private Sanctum yet, so there's nothing blocking it. I would give it a 30% chance.
30? Okay. So, Mahogany.
Yeah.
The situation you're in now is that these hardheads believe you're acting in bad faith. Because you didn't explain to Saren that you were going to essentially include the most wanted man in Sigil as far as the hardheads were concerned. And it changes the entire situation.
Frick, I will point out that if any of them start casting a spell, it's getting counterspelled.
None of them are spellcasters.
Okay.
I already made that roll. Nick gave me 30% and I went way over that.
Okay.
But right now, all of them have their swords drawn. One of them looks back at Nath and says, if you don't dispel this wall right now, there will be violence.
Mahogany, exactly what happened between you and the Factyl?
And I'll say that the Factyl put me in charge to restore order back into the marketplace. And without Hollis Dwath, there's going to be a bunch of dead hardheads and no order. With them, we can actually do our jobs.
Then you'll have no issue with me sending the 2 men back to tell them what I've heard. If what you say is true, the fact will
No one's
confirm
going
it.
anywhere until I've had a chance to vet these men.
All right, roll initiative.
No, Mahogany will put
Roll
his hand up
initiative.
and he'll say, "Yeah, I'll roll initiative, but
Roll
let me finish
initiative.
my sentence."
I'm going to roll once for the officer and once for the guys. Also, I need my monster manual.
Well, this got interesting.
Mahogany
12.
and Nath.
Where's my initiative bonus? Nath acts at 13.
13.
How long does Wall of Force last, though?
10 minutes.
Alright, well.
Yeah, they have no means to dispel it. They're completely at your mercy here. So, Mahogany, what did you say in response to that?
Mahogany said in response to Nath, he'll say, "I have no problems with the Factal finding this out, because he will anyway. I was planning on bringing a couple of you to meet with some followers of Dwath if this one here," and I'll point at Nath, says you can be trusted.
Make no mistake, these 4 hardheads on 17 are readying an action. And if Nath does not dispel the wall of force, what would happen noticeably for them to know that happens? Like, would they
The
have
wall
to
of
take your
force?
word for it? Because
It's invisible.
yeah.
You'd have to reach out and try and push your way through the wall or the door. And the door's closed. I mean, I guess you could try and opening the door and finding that you just hit a wall.
Well, what you see at this moment is these 4 hardheads have their swords drawn, and they're ready to step in on you if need be. So, sorry about that. I'm dropping dice. Nath, your turn.
Sleep.
Sleep. Go ahead and roll it.
4th level.
That's a lot of D8s.
Centered on the non-officer. Well, they're all in a group, right? So it doesn't really matter.
You could get everybody. Yeah, it's such a small space. You can get everybody in this room if you wanted.
If I can get myself a Mahogany Nod in it, that would be good. Is it
Well,
one
I mean,
extra
it's
or
not
2
like-
extra?
He's not likely to burn through all their hit. Not
Right.
going to burn through all their
That's
hit
true.
points.
I believe it's 2 extra D8 per level.
That sounds like
I got
information you
99
should
hit
have on
points,
your
so good
character
fucking luck.
I'm pulling it up right now.
I'm using
Yep,
D&D
2d8 per level. And I put that at 4th, so it's going to get 6 extra.
Oh.
44 hit points.
44 hit points. Nobody falls asleep.
Man, I picked some high CR hardheads.
Mahogany.
I mean, I don't. I'm waiting for them to attack me, and put it that way. So I'm gonna dodge, and I'm just gonna say to the group, if you want to be the reason why your Factal's initiative fails on the very first day, be my guest and attack us.
So your first official duty is to kind of deny any responsibility for this. Okay.
My first official ability is to try to get them to not attack us 5 seconds into this brick road.
Sorry, I'm getting my hardhead officer stat block ready. I didn't think I was going to need it. There it is. Okay.
I hope they didn't bring a planar man catcher with them.
They didn't.
They don't, no. Mahogany would have specified if they did.
Yeah.
Nath, the officer is moving over towards the door. What does he encounter when he gets to the door?
Plane of pure force before he can actually touch it.
So he can't even get his hand on the door handle.
Nope.
And he gives the order, men, cut them down. So, Nath.
Mhm.
I'm going to attack you a whole lot.
Okay. Armor class is 15.
Ooh. And I get advantage on all these rolls. Okay, so that's a lot of dice. So armor class is 15?
Yep. And I have some reactions depending on when you hit.
Okay. That'll just hit a 15. And that'll just hit a 15. First guy hits with both of his attacks.
Mm-hmm.
Do you want them split
I
up?
need them separate for concentration checks.
No problem. First one does 8 points of slashing damage.
One second. I can do something here.
Do you have a
I have
reaction?
the Sentinel feat. Serenity, how does that work?
If someone attacks someone else adjacent to you, you make an attack as a reaction. Who doesn't have the Sentinel feat?
That's not what I want to do. I was
you can
hoping
also
that I
stop
could.
movement.
Oh yeah, what the hell?
Otherwise.
So you're going to attack one of the hardheads?
Yeah, what the hell? Smack it with my staff.
Concentration is a minimum of 10, is that right?
It's either 10 or half of the damage, whichever is greater.
Yep. So pass the first one. And so, okay, took 8 damage, and then the second hit?
Is 5 points of slashing damage.
Yep.
Okay, second, third, and fourth guy only hit once each.
Okay.
Second man did 6 points of slashing.
Okay. Sec. It's fine.
Third man did 9 points of slashing.
I'm gonna Arcane Ward that.
Okay. And the last man did 11 points of slashing.
That's fine. Wall of Force is still up.
Alright, you have a turn now.
Grab Mahogany Dimension Door 500 feet in the direction of his shop.
Okay. And you just leave them there inside the wall of force?
Not for the first time. Second time I've pulled that exact escape.
So how long does that wall stays up for?
10 minutes. It's concentration.
So you guys are going to have a very interesting discussion immediately, I would think.
Let's get to your shop. I'll put up a sanctum and we can talk.
How far away from my shop are we?
It was actually relatively close, because your shop is right on the border of the bazaar, and you're only a couple blocks from where Liberation had his confrontation with Reese last week.
Yeah, okay.
And we went 500
head
feet
back
in
there
that
and talk
direction,
then.
so...
Okay.
So for the duration of the Wall of Force, I'll be casting Mordecain's Private Sanctum inside Mahogany's shop.
Okay.
And I'll be talking to him. I'll be like, they're just going to knock on the door in like 5 minutes, right?
10 minutes.
Well, he'll hear the alarm go off before then.
Yep.
And how does that conversation go back in the shop?
Well, it's very one-sided while he's casting.
Right.
Because Mahogany is just telling him the whole thing, and how his plan was he was going to go get some of Dwath's men and do this the only way that he sees that it's going to work. But apparently the hardheads aren't going to allow that. Oh well.
They're pretty rigid sometimes. They might not follow orders. If this is the problem with a lot of members of the Harmonium, is they don't understand the difference between good and law, and they might just follow, to them you said the name of a wanted criminal. Whatever the good of their actual mission that they were trying to do was irrelevant at that point. And I was going to poke around in their heads and see if I could figure out if they were the sort of people that would do that, but I guess that's a slightly more efficient way to do it. Did cost me a few of the higher valencies, but fewer of the less.